It is Sunday evening, and that means it's time for another live recording of the Auburn Experience podcast, our flagship show of E2C Network. We're going to get into all the different discussion points, Auburn sports, Auburn culture, and Auburn family, all here right now. Let's jump into it. War Eagle Auburn family and War Eagle E2C Network family, thank you so much for joining us, whether you're watching live, whether you're watching on the replay on YouTube, Facebook, all the different times, places, and multiverses with which you can get this content. We appreciate you being here and being part of our little family within the Auburn family. We do know that there is a certain NFC championship game going on right now, so we may be seeing a bunch of y'all on the replay, understandably so. But hey, we got to take care of business because this is all about Auburn in our world. We're not focused on Lions. We're not focused on 49ers. We're not focused on Ravens and Chiefs and all that kind of stuff. Myself, your host, Kyle, and Austin, we're all about Auburn here.
All about it. Do we have anyone from the Auburn family in that game tonight? I think Prince Tega is still with the Chiefs. I don't know that for sure.
I believe last I checked, I did a quick search. There's a website that has keeps track of things pretty well. Nobody, at least, that's going to likely be in the Super Bowl as of this point, because right now the Lions are still ahead, right?
They were when I got on here.
That and decently. I think I have that still correct. If that changes, I'm sorry if you're watching this in the future and I've jinxed you, Lion fans. Sorry. You can blame me if you want. But if that holds, there will not be anybody, I think, for the first year in a while in the Super Bowl for Auburn.
So Prince Tega is not with the Chiefs anymore?
I don't think so, because let me just look here. So Auburn,
he's been our Auburn representative for the last, they've been in it so many times. He's been our mainstay.
Yeah, I think based on this one website that I trust a lot, Chiefs. I'm looking. I see no Chiefs. I see no Prince Tega. Wanago Jr. Up there he is. I just found him. So I lied, folks. So the streak continues.
Nice.
Auburn will be represented in the Super Bowl once again by Prince Tega Wanago Jr. But that's just kind of what happens when you're part of the, the Chiefs these days. You just go to at least to the championship of your conference, if not the Super Bowl. Now, he is listed as a reserve on this. So does that count, Austin?
I don't know. I was thinking too, usually Auburn Athletics puts out like good luck things for their own publicity of, hey, look who we got. And I haven't seen that. So that might not count.
Here, look, my Auburn heart wants to count it just because I want that for Prince Tega. And I want to be able to say Auburn in the Super Bowl again. But it almost does feel like if you're not playing in it, that it's a little Bama-ish to claim it.
Though, one time, one individual came to Auburn for a certain event after a whole publicity stunt of these individuals were wanting to hug a certain celebrity.
Yeah.
And she's going to the Super Bowl.
Is she though?
Oh, she's going. I saw.
You saw what I'm about to say?
Oh yeah, she's making it. She'll fly that red eye. She's making it.
Folks, Taylor Swift has invaded an Auburn podcast. What can she not take over these days?
Oh gosh, wait. Oh man, my wife is applauding in the background. She's freaking out. She can't believe Taylor Swift has entered the Auburn Experience.
Because we have taken an opportunity to talk about Taylor Swift. And you know what, folks? This is a point in my history of running E2C Network in all its different capacities I didn't think I'd reach. Of course, I said that when we did a mini series about The Bachelor.
True.
About to get a Bachelor for those of you folks that want to go back and listen to Maddie Pruitt's season. And to be honest, I was surprisingly entertained by all of that. And I will never forget the day in our group me that the discussion started happening of, are we going to do this? Are we really talking about doing a mini series about The Bachelor?
Well, and our friend Dallas did an amazing job
with his wife.
His wife, and we were rewarded though that they were in Neville Arena. I mean, the fact, no offense to Caleb Kim and Charity, whatever her last name was,
Boston, yeah,
but he didn't make it very far. Thankfully, we did that, and she went very far, and we saw actually Auburn University in the show, and so that was beneficial.
And here's the funny little insight to that too, Austin. I'm gonna pull the curtain back, and he may have shared this in our
Auburn Experience history.
It is. he may have shared this, I'm not sure, but he pulled me aside virtually and said, hey, just so you know, we're privy to some information. Maddie makes it basically to the end. So that's why we're suggesting we do this, because you need to capitalize on this content. And that's kind of when I said, check mark, content away. So
you couldn't let my little Auburn heart just believe that it worked all out for orange and blue good.
I tried to stay away from it just to believe maybe they just were hearing rumors. But as the weeks progressed and you kind of watched the storyline build, it became clear that Bought to Get a Bachelor was going to continue on.
And
but
it did.
I know, folks, y'all didn't expect the show to start this way, but we're talking about
we.
Taylor Swift, reality TV. Somehow we're getting back to Auburn stuff. I don't know. You figure it out. All right. Well, you guys can do what you normally do. Smash the like button, whether you're watching live or in the replay. We really appreciate you guys being here on what I'm sure is a very busy night. If you guys have any questions or anything in the next minute or two, we can take those about any topics. But we got actually a fun show tonight. We're going to go a little bit off of not necessarily current event discussions, meaning like what the programs are doing. We will talk about that. But I think, Austin, we could all use a little break from some basketball, at least in lengthy discussion this week, don't you think?
Well, yes. And I would prefer not to relive certain events this week that happened in person and through my television. So
yes, and I may or may not be calling you out.
Yeah, well,
it's just what it is, Austin.
I've been waiting for this. It's already happened in other platforms, and I'm aware. I'm ready to take on all the responsibility I need.
The question is, do I blame you for other events that happened this week? I don't know. It just seems like ever since you went to a certain place, Trevon Reed leaving, we're going to talk about. I mean, should I just?
No, that's not my fault.
Everything bad started happening the moment you stepped foot into Coleman. That's all. I'll save it. But I'm just saying.
Oh boy.
I'm not happy with you, Austin.
Electricity, the game,
everything. You just got to stop going over there and flipping the little switches off and stuff like that.
I wish I was responsible for that.
I would have given anything just to see you send us a little message and just give us all a little wink after that happened. And I would have just been like, Austin, you
standing by the switch,
doing anything for the show. Hey, that's on the same level as me taking a jersey to a statue and giving a little wink,
That's right.
E2C just wrecking havoc in Tuscaloosa every time they go there. All right, we're going to go ahead and get the show started. So what we have on tap for y'all this evening, obviously a 30-minute-ish show with 3 10-minute-ish segments. We're going to talk a little Auburn potpourri. We're going to discuss the video board and / renovations to the stadium, that discussion that I think a lot of you will be interested in. And then we're finally going to get around to doing a little bit of Auburn Rushmore stuff, quarterback style, this one, which I think will generate a lot of discussion this week when we start talking about it on social media. So with that being said, Mr. Scott, if you are ready, we will get started.
Yes, ready to do it.
3, 2, 1. David Housel described it best. We are living the whole of the Auburn experience. You can quantify it, you can qualify it in a variety of ways across many different times, places, peoples, of course, experiences. But at its heart and at its core, the Auburn experience is all about its sports, all about its culture, and all about its family. And it looks like we have lost Austin. So we will do that again one more time. Oh, that is hilarious, folks. Everything is just falling apart for Austin this week. I cannot believe what just happened.
You remember the little clock thing I was telling you about?
Yes.
I knew something was going to happen because I was like, this is not going to end well. And now it's back normal.
We're good now.
Yeah. Well, I saw it and it froze. The clock froze and I was like, uh-oh. And so I was trying to go do something to see if it would resolve. And then you went black.
I could see the worry on your face as it started to become a realization. Yeah. And then you just were gone. I was like, oh no, it's happening. It's happening. Yeah. Wow.
My wife just asked, are you okay? I saw it freeze and I went, uh-oh. And then next thing I know, you were gone.
Hey, Terry, thanks for popping in. We'll answer this question at the end of the
You haven't
show.
missed
We're gonna.
much.
You haven't missed much. Austin just his great week is just continuing, so we're gonna try to cap this off now. Finally, so take 2 for the beginning of the show. Are you sure you're ready this time?
I'm positive the correct time. No one even knows about that. Yes, we're good to go.
In 3, 2, 1. David Housel described it best. We are living the whole of the Auburn experience. You can quantify it, you can qualify it in a variety of different times, places, venues, experiences, and people's lives. But at its heart, at its core, the Auburn experience is all about its sports, its culture, and of course, its family. And because it's all about family, well, some of those family members got to be here to talk about it. I'm your host, Kyle Loomis, alongside me, the best co-host in the land when he can, make it onto a stream, Mr. Austin Scott, having some technical difficulties to start off the show. You didn't think you were going to get away with me not calling you out and giving you a hard time about all this, did you?
No, of course not. Look, I mean, there's been plenty of times I've had to fly solo while you've disappeared for a second on
Yep.
on our episodes, and so it was only a matter of time. The camera and the laptop stayed upright. That's all that matters. And we're rocking and rolling on Sunday, January 28th.
There is just never a moment that I want to miss with you on this show, because if it's not falling over, if corn dogs aren't coming out, if you're not losing power or just things shutting down, there's never a dull moment here, folks. So if you're not watching live, first of all, on the YouTube version of this show, you're missing out. We thank you guys for listening. That's the only way you consume this content, but you're just missing some things. So look, Austin, we got a bunch to talk about this week, and
tons.
Some of it is not good things. Some of it is good, but it's sad for us at the same time. Should we just start there? Because I heard we're done. Are we done yet?
No, I heard we're not done. If you read the letter all the way through, but as you're referring to, our favorite and a mainstay that has come up on this podcast many times, Trevon Reed is leaving the Plains temporarily.
Yes, he is temporarily. It's been the most interesting ride watching his time here at Auburn. Let me just kind of walk us through this as best as I can remember. You fill in gaps where I may be incorrect, Austin. Trevon Reed arrived here as a player first, 5-star player, highly, anticipated as a wide receiver, what he was going to be able to do. For whatever reason, as a wide receiver, that never really materialized. He switched positions, became a pretty decent defensive back, even, I believe, got to play in the NFL. I know in some of the other spring leagues he did get to play. Once that time was done for him, he came back to Auburn in a support role capacity that expanded over the years, got some promotions here or there, and even when certain positions were vacated, got to be on the field. Well, not on the field. He got to be on the road, involved in recruiting. And now he is officially going to join Coach Malzahn as the cornerbacks coach, the position that he played. I have this right, correct?
That's right. Yep.
That's just full circle. Like, what a interesting tale for a guy that came in as a 5-star wide receiver. It didn't necessarily worked out maybe the way he had planned, but going back to where he got this started with Coach Malzahn, getting his first true assistant coach job. I'm so happy for Trevon.
Yeah.
But I'm also very sad for us too.
Oh, I mean, it is the ultimate bittersweet moment. Trevon, if you listen to him talk about his journey to Auburn, a Louisiana guy through and through, one of those top prospects out of Louisiana that decided to leave the state. That does not happen very often. And came to Auburn and found a whole new definition of family in the Auburn family. And like you said, has had a wild road that led him, back and forth to Auburn, being in Auburn every now and then ultimately having a position with the staff and with the team that he drew him here in the first place. And now he and his family are headed to Orlando. I'm super excited for him. We've talked about it on the show before through a very, very weird connection. Trevon and I got to know each other through some local radio, believe it or not. And we have been able to stay in minimal contact since and just keep up with each other. But this is an opportunity that is well deserved for him. He is what he has been chasing, and I couldn't be more excited for him. I do not think that this is Trevon Reed's the end of him being in Auburn, and I think that this is a stepping stone for him to be able to take a bigger role with Auburn football one day. That is a guy who loves Auburn and bleeds orange and blue, and the epitome of what it means to be fully immersed in the Auburn experience and fully be captivated by the Auburn family. So I'm proud of T. Reed. I'm excited for him. And hey, you don't have to give me another excuse to watch UCF football.
Well, you've got another one if you didn't want it. And listen, I'm just happy that he's left the door open for an opportunity to come back. But we just want to wish congratulations to Trevon. Happy for you. Happy for your family. And of course, we hope we're not done yet with you too, sir. Let's talk about some others news. This is not, it's sad news in terms of how the week has gone. We're going to wrap this as quickly as we can. A lot of bad things happened for Auburn basketball this week. It started off great. The jokes just wrote themselves as the game began in Tuscaloosa. The lights came down. Austin actually was the culprit behind that.
Whoa. Allegedly,
supposedly, this is reportedly, may or may not have. I mean, I'm just saying 2 times now, E2C members have been in Tuscaloosa in January and shenanigans happened.
Shenanigans did happen.
I'm just saying. After that point, it pretty much wasn't a great showing. Auburn loses to Alabama. And then just has a miserable game against Mississippi State, dropping 2 on the road. And Auburn Twitter, Auburn social media has lost their ever-loving mind. When your head coach is having to issue a tweet basically addressing the sentiment around the team, folks, if you're part of that sentiment, you're part of the problem. I'm just going to say it flat out. You need to take 2 chill pills. Did the team perform well this week? No, absolutely not. You've heard us talk about that. But I'm just saying, folks, have a freaking chill pill. I'm sorry. I just had to get that out there. Did I say anything that's untrue?
No, sir. They asked for it. You delivered.
And yes, I delivered something, and I'm trying to not deliver too much more if you catch my drift. Thoughts on a frustrating week?
A frustrating week. Like you said, I was in Tuscaloosa. So that's something a few of my friends and I have done annually now. And that did not go well.
It's your fault.
It's your fault. I wouldn't go that far.
It's your fault.
I don't think I had a whole lot to do with it, but I did cause a bunch of havoc up in the stands. I was very respectful most of the time and very very a good, I don't even know the word I'm trying to say. I didn't get into too many shenanigans, but we represented Auburn well. We were sad that it didn't turn out our way. And the Mississippi State game was just, I think you said, just frustrating. But it's hard to believe they even took the lead late, but they did. Auburn, I'm saying, and still just could not find a way to win. This team, I want to stress though, and this is echoing Coach Bruce Pearl, it is very hard to win on the road in this league. Very hard to win on the road in college basketball.
You seen the graphic?
Yeah,
top 10 this week.
It's absolutely crazy. So all the Chicken Littles out there with their orange and blue Auburn shirts on, let's calm down.
I don't think they got orange and blue shirts on. They look, folks. Just
here he goes. Here he goes.
Okay, I'll stop. You go ahead.
Well, no, I won't get into that. But it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. We get Vanderbilt this week at home. The boys, no one's more excited to be back in Neville Arena than those players. So it's all gonna be fine. Just trust. Look, Kyle, do we ask people to listen to the head coach press conferences?
I do.
Do we tell them that it is very important to listen to the head coach press conference?
It's, you've got 2 very honest coaches that will tell you what's on their mind, sometimes to their own detriment.
It's not coach speak. They're being very honest. And Bruce Pearl said last week, this team is not top 10 worthy. We are overranked. His team proved him correctly.
I did.
And so
I didn't
it's okay.
Either.
I didn't either. But it's okay. And so this is the time. Everybody's worrying about, did we peak too early? Well, this is the time to figure out things, and then peak in March. Yep. So everybody just calm down.
If a bad stretch has to happen, happening now,
yes,
is the best time to do it. So
yes,
we'll leave it at that. more basketball discussion, I'm sure, on our next episode, because hopefully we have a lot more happy things to talk about. Let's keep the bad vibes rolling here as Crotchety Old Men's segment comes out very briefly here about the changing Auburn landscape in terms of what it actually looks like downtown. Now, folks, when I say this news, he's getting his sleeves rolled up about this. Are you fired up about this?
This is local resident. This is time. This is my biggest crotchety old man area.
Prepare yourself. Wow. When I say this news story, folks, you're going to be like, what's the big deal? I mean, you've probably never been there, but you've seen it. It's part of the picturesque view of downtown. Auburn Hardware has been there, like 40 something years, maybe longer than that.
40 plus.
And it has been, it's on the, I'm going to give a poor job of on a map. If you're looking at Toomer's Corner, like literally at the corner, go to the right towards Little Italy, all that's where Auburn Hardware is. It's going to be closing within the next month officially, and will be eaten up. And I'm assuming, I don't know if this is written out in a press release or anything like that, but turned into more shopping space, upscale shopping space with probably more apartments up there. I will let Austin go now. I'm going to just sit back out of the blowback zone.
Well, I first saw it, and actually my wife saw it and sent it to me, and she said, and it was the Auburn Hardware, I don't think it was the owner, but a longtime employee there.
I think it was a family member.
And she was explaining my dad's retiring, the place, and she did say the place will be a tall building with a restaurant. And there are so many things that have changed in the Auburn skyline and landscape over the last few years that don't make sense. I understand that a hardware shop in downtown Auburn probably not needed anymore. Probably not something that's going to that generates a lot of business outside of it being kind of the another gift shop or another memento place to buy, which is where Emily and I are going to go. We are going to go to Auburn Hardware and buy some things that we can show our boys one day and have in this room I get to call my collection of space here. So I understand that. I understand a local hardware shop is probably not competing with Home Depot and Lowe's anymore. However, I think we just really need, there doesn't seem to be, I just don't need, I'm rambling, but I don't need to get into certain things. A tall building with a restaurant underneath is probably not what I would pick as what downtown Auburn needs anymore, especially when you need parking for that tall building and a restaurant to go in, and there's already a lack of that. Nonetheless, we keep building tall buildings, and we keep deciding to make Auburn not a lovely little village, and it'll still be that in our hearts, but things are changing, and that is the decision of people that are, I'm not going to say more important, but I'm going to say in higher roles than I am. And so
yes,
I will continue to enjoy my little village, but it's just sad. I'm very sad to see. I'm a nostalgic person. I don't like a lot of change, and Auburn has just been rapidly changing. The scenery and the aesthetic downtown has been rapidly changing for a few years now. Yes. And it's just unfortunate to me. I'll admit, I didn't go to the hardware shop very often. This is a bigger topic to me.
Yes, it's a launch point for a bigger issue for you.
Correct. But I am sad to see Auburn Hardware go, and I'm looking forward to getting in there and getting a few knickknacks.
Change is inevitable, but it doesn't take away from the sting of things like this. And I understand some of the pushback on this, and unfortunately more will be coming as Auburn continues to grow. But with growth obviously comes a lot of good things, so we'll see if we feel better about it down the line. But for now, we'll miss things like the Auburn Hardware shop, so just want to give them a little bit of a shout out. I think honestly that's all we have time for in Auburn Potpourri, but folks, we left some other things, even like some breaking news for some other programs that we just don't have time to talk about, because we got to get into some good things. We got some fun conversations coming up for you. One, we're going to talk about the video board that's pretty much officially going to be announced soon. And then finally, Austin, we are going to do Mount Rushmore.
Finally.
All coming up right now. Big topic number one tonight. Let's talk about renovation. We just got on a big harp session about how change is inevitable for downtown Auburn. I'm not going to get you stirred up again about that as an Auburn resident. But I think one thing that everybody agrees is that Jordan-Hare Stadium is due for some significant upgrades. Now, we did have some additions in terms of seating down below, some very high premium experiences that worked out. They brought the stadium capacity up above 88,000. So now we can start sporting that and trying to memorize that all in our heads now. But
true,
significant improvements, additions are probably in order. Let me start there, Austin, before we get into our news story about this. And it's around this announcement that's probably coming later this week. Do you truly think that Auburn needs to be expanded? Renovated, yes, but expanded?
Jordan-Hare Stadium?
Yes. I'm sorry. What did I say something wrong?
You said Auburn. I was like, I don't know where we're going with the city
Auburn
of
does
Auburn.
need to be not expanded, probably much more, because it's going to not be the lovely village anymore. Now I'm going to get you going again. Jordan-Hare, keep it there.
Jordan, you asked if do I think Jordan-Hare needs to be expanded?
Expanded. Keyword.
No, I don't. Well, look, that's a tricky thing. I don't think it needs to be expanded. I keep seeing people saying, well, with the topic we're going to get into, this is opportunity for them to build an upper deck and we can get to 100,000. I don't think Auburn Jordan-Hare Stadium needs to be 100,000. That's one of those things. It's just a nice round number that we all want to do, and we compare ourselves to other.
It's a cool club to be a part of, right? Like
it's a cool, yes, cool club. Does the capacity of a stadium matter the most? I think you have a basketball arena that proves that right there, because I was just in one that is giant and it's terrible until Auburn comes to town. So no, I don't think it needs to be expanded, because I recognize the last few years have been a little rough, but the sellouts are constant in Jordan-Hare Stadium. The atmosphere is constant. It is always a hard place to play. So no, I don't think it needs to be expanded. The renovations, I do agree with. It needs to happen. Now, if those renovations provide expansion, like if we're, let's say, I do not know any plans for this video board. I don't know any renderings.
Not what I heard. I heard you got the inside dish. You're just going to lay it out.
No. Nobody knows anything until this board meeting, right? But let's say this video board going in the north end zone.
Yes.
That's where I sit, but I don't know what end zone that is.
North.
Another problem.
North end zone, I think.
Let's say this video board provides an opportunity to add some more seating, and the renovation itself is going to allow for that to be an easier project. Then I think you can expand it. But I'm not saying, I don't think Auburn needs to expand Jordan-Hare Stadium. I think there's some more clean up things and pretty looking things that you can do with Jordan-Hare that would make it a better stadium in the modern era.
Yeah, let's break that topic out a little bit now. So for those of you that need some context, it was broke this week, the news story that in the upcoming board meeting, today is January 28th. I believe I don't know the date right off the top of my head, but next Friday, they're going to be meeting to approve an addition of a north end zone video board. Will it be a giant video board? Well, we would probably find out in this, maybe a little bit after this week. I bet we'll hear the approval, and then we'll start seeing plans a little bit after that. But a video board going there. There's been no probably pushback that the fact that scoreboard down there is one of the most ancient things known to man. And needs to be addressed in some way. But is a video board facing a giant, literally the world's biggest video board, it seems like sometimes, is that what Auburn needs outside of the opportunities for expansion that may come with that? I mean, what do you think about video board? Is that too much of that?
No, I'm good with it. It's not my, if I were doing it and I were John Cohen, I got to pick whatever we wanted to do. It's not what I would do. I have other things that we can get into another time in the summer. But I think that it's good. I think a detraction from people wanting to sit beneath the video board is that you're going to be looking straight up like this, like you're on the front row of the movie theater. And it, like you said, it is a very large video board, but if you're underneath it, you're underneath it. So I think one on the other end, I really hope it's not that big. But I mean, I think when you go to these other stadiums, there are multiple video boards. I'm not saying you just do another video board to be like everybody else, but it's just the way the stadiums, modern stadiums, have evolved. Right. Everybody wants to see the replay. Everybody wants to see, the face mask singer or the running with Reed video. Everybody wants to see the newest thing. that is up there.
Everybody wants to be able to point to the Bama fans at the Iron Bowl that, yes, the person was out of bounds. Literally had that discussion. I said, do you know what a line is? This foot is over the line. How are you even arguing this with me? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Here he goes. Yeah,
sorry,
I mean, you're on it tonight.
I am a little bit.
And so I think it is, I hesitate saying it's necessary, but I think it is a very good improvement and a very beneficial addition for the stadium. And we just got done talking about how we're nostalgic people. In a sense, I'm nostalgic that the old video board's going away because it's been there for so long, and it's a picture of my childhood of seeing it. Same with the old video board before the giant one. Like, I have many memories looking at that and the pictures next to it and the things like that. But I think this is a needed change that is probably good for the benefit of Jordan-Hare Stadium and Auburn football. Will it add things as well with the video board, like seating and premium club things? That's something I'm really interested to see.
What my hope is what this video board provides is the foundation to add, as we kind of hinted at, expanded seating, extensions of certain elements that provide more seating, maybe premium options, you say. And who knows, at that point, if you can get Auburn up to, or Jordan-Hare Stadium up to a little above 90,000,
that's where I'm at. Me too.
I think 95,000 is the max that Auburn's Jordan-Hare Stadium needs to be at. Because if you're just reaching for the sole purpose of 100,000 without it naturally happening, I feel like that's being a Bama person,
it's just priorities where I don't think they need to be. It's not that important. Kyle, my big question to you, because this is what everyone's asking.
Okay.
And they're all asking, what's Kyle Loomis think about this? Do you want an upper deck in that north end zone?
I don't want an upper deck. I want upper seating. Does that make sense? I'm not asking for it. I'm not asking for a full deck to be across. I've looked at it 1,000 times. In my mind, virtually, maybe I may or may not have run some things out, some programs just to see what it might look like. Of course, AI and all that kind of stuff. There are some views I've seen that I like. There are some I don't. I kind of like the symmetry of what we have right now. And if we kind of go horseshoe-esque without it actually connecting, because I don't know that we can do that architecturally. I'll leave that to the engineers and the architects.
I was about to say, or the architects, but
well, it's going to take engineering and architecture all together. I'm bringing it all together. I'm like the Auburn band, bringing everybody together to win a contest.
There you go.
Circle all that back together. I think that I would like something up there.
Me too.
And we could use a little bit more seating. It's not a requirement. I think we can make it without it. But in the same token, let me ask you this, because this is what they're asking Mr. Scott all this week, is what I was told.
If I'm going to make their dreams come true, go ahead.
Believe it or not, I was actually, I did. I was talking about that today earlier. If you know, you know, folks. In terms of renovations, because this would be a renovation in a sense, even though they're going to be adding a new video board. Is this the renovation that Auburn needs most? Now, what do I mean by that? I'm talking about facilities. I'm talking about
not just football.
Football, just football, like football facilities, stuff like Jordan-Hare, bathrooms, walkways. I think, again, we complimented them last week. Rhett Hobart and his team, and there's too many of them to name to give all the credit to, but the whole team have done a great job maximizing what they can at Jordan-Hare, and I'm sure they're going to do it again this year. But is this where the money should be spent? On a video board, as opposed to other things that Jordan-Hare needs to expand, renovate the experience, as we're about here? What do you think?
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say I have two. I'm not going to go long, but I have three things that I would prefer happen before this. And one of them is like just for like to look pretty. And this might, and because they're doing a video board, this might have to be later because there's going to be a whole bunch of mess when you put a new video board. My first thing is handrails up the steps. I'm clumsy. I see other people that are clumsy and other people that do things throughout the day to make themselves clumsy that handrails would be useful. My second thing is I'm anti-bleacher. I would prefer we get I call them movie seats. I don't know.
So you're asking for a full replacement into bucket
Yeah,
seats, whatever they're called now.
bucket seats. The seats in the arena.
Okay.
That's what I would. Those are the two things I would be like 100% needed. Do it now. I think those both modernize. The other thing is I've always wanted to brick the whole thing. Brick the whole thing.
The exterior?
The exterior. I'm good with. I like the concrete. I think it looks after
Hmm.
time and after some good pressure washing, but especially that north end zone. I hope that maybe this is part of that. The video board is that exterior kind of steel look. Maybe we close that in and brick it a little bit. That would be my three things, but in that order.
That's a good point. And I didn't think about that till you said that. But remember when they put the big video board up, that was opportunity. And they threw some banners up on it, but it was an opportunity to change the facade of the outside of Jordan Hare. And like it or not, it at least gave us something kind of new and modern to look at with the addition of functionality. So I think to maybe wrap all this up, our take on it collectively, and I think we speak a lot collectively for the Auburn family here, is we're happy about it. It seems like the first step into something more. We're just hoping that there's going to be more that comes along in terms of expansion, renovation. But the point is that things are starting to be addressed. And that is what John Cohen has been known for at Mississippi State, is improving facilities. And that we assume is the big reason he got the job. And it seems like that's taking place. So we will now watch. We will wait, assuming after we just had this big conversation and they're going to approve it in the upcoming board meeting. And I'm sure we're going to be talking about it much, much more. And so many opinions, as Auburn social media loves to do, will be had. And we'll talk about it in further detail too. Big topic number 2 tonight. I would like for us, on a week where we just need to palate cleanse Austin, we have got to find a way to just get the bad taste of basketball out of our mouth for this week. So let's have some fun. Let's talk about something that we teased late last year, I think. Instead, we were going to use it in moments like this where there wasn't a lot of news. There was a lot of news this week, but things maybe that we didn't want to spend a full 10-minute-ish segment on. Auburn Mount Rushmore. We've done a preview about what this was all going to be about. We're going to give our take on this, and we're going to obviously ask for some of y'all's opinions too. But we're not just doing, like right now, the definitive Auburn Mount Rushmore. That's what we're going to head to. We're going to do this in long form, piece by piece segment. We're going to do little segments of Auburn discussion. So tonight we are discussing Auburn football quarterback Mount Rushmore. Auburn quarterbacks, who would you put? The 4 spaces, and we agreed on that. We're going to keep it to the 4.
Yep.
And you and I need to discuss that. Let's get into it. I think there's some pretty big names at the very start of this. Don't really, we need to discuss it just for the sake of discussing it, because I mean, we're doing a podcast after all. But I don't think there's going to be much rebuttal. Would you like to offer up any names just to have as they're going in?
Some non-negotiables.
Non-negotiables.
I think Bo Nix. I'm just kidding. Is I think.
Could you imagine the heads exploding because people are still somehow hating on Bo Nix?
Cam. He's you can see his poster to my upper left.
Yes.
Cam Newton is on Mount Rushmore of Auburn. Yeah, he had 1 season. That is going to be the biggest thing. Anyone who wants to try and put up an argument. No, 14-0, Heisman Trophy winner, first pick in the draft, unprecedented season, the best season by SEC quarterback, period. Freak athlete. Cam Newton is on Auburn's quarterbacks Mount Rushmore. I don't see how anyone sane can disagree with that.
Well, and I like to look at it this way. When someone's going on a Mount Rushmore, that means they mean something extra special. It's one thing to be a great quarterback. It's one thing to, just have great seasons and stats and stuff like that. But there's got to be a full picture. Let's look at Cam Newton real quick. Heisman Trophy winner, national champion. Yes, in 1 year, but it's incredible. I mean, there's discussions had every offseason when everybody's bored and can't produce regular content in sports about who's the greatest coming out of the college football of the SEC. And it's always Cam and Tim Tebow usually. or maybe Joe Burrow for some reason these days.
Yeah.
I know he had a great season, folks, but let's calm down. He's not better than Cam Newton. Just chill, at least as a total package. So he's also been to the Super Bowl. He's been an NFL MVP. He came back to Auburn to get his degree. He comes back a lot, brought his whole family back. I mean, what he has done for Auburn, even outside of him leaving and coming back and, bucking the trend of, oh, he's just there to use y'all. He's not coming back. Boy, were they wrong about that. Is no question. Cam Newton is already on there. So one of the 4 spots is taken.
Easily.
I think number 2. I think there's a second one that has to go there. You go ahead and say it. Let's see if we're on the same page.
Pat Sullivan.
There we go. Thank you.
I mean, same reasoning, right? Right. A historic name in Auburn athletics, Auburn football history, a Heisman Trophy winner. No, were his stats as good as Cam Newton? No, look at the era. Look at the different style of play back then. It doesn't matter. And we have seen his impact on the state of Alabama, his impact on Auburn athletics all the way up until the day he died. And so Pat Sullivan is 1,000% still on that Auburn quarterback Mount Rushmore list.
Yes, I agree. I think he's got to be there. If you really want to get your emotions going, I think it's hard to find actually, but maybe not. Just search Pat Sullivan Heisman Trophy speech. And the way he talks about his team and stuff like that with such simpleness, and I don't mean that in a weird, like a derogatory way or anything, but just plainness in terms of just giving credit where credit is due outside of himself. He was it seemed like to me from outside looking in, a very pleasant, great individual outside of the game. And I think that came through in his Heisman Trophy speech. So national championship winner, part of one of the best duos, wide receiver quarterback duos at Auburn, Heisman Trophy winner, our first Heisman Trophy winner, came back and coached at Auburn too. That in and of itself gets you as an Auburn quarterback Mount Rushmore. So 2 spots taken. We agree, correct?
100%.
So this is where the debate begins, and I will let you go first in submitting number 3, at least who you think could fill a spot.
Yeah, well, this is where it gets hairy. I've got several options. I'm not really sure, to be honest, who takes the last 2. This is where I'm looking forward to hearing from our listeners and their own opinions. But I'm operating out of a few names here. We've got Damian Craig. We've got Jason Campbell, Stan White, and I'm putting Nick Marshall in there. And I think I lean, as if I'm picking from those 4, as one of the most solid choices. Like, we know Cam and Pat are in there. Who's my next? Who do I feel best about next? Yeah. I'm leaning Jason Campbell. And I think that you probably tend to agree with me on this, that with his accomplishments, with of course the 04's undefeated season, the SEC championship, the record set, being back in Auburn now obviously helps. But that's a guy who went 4 full years and stuck through it with Auburn and has remained an Auburn man through and through to still be here and contribute to, on to victory. Obviously, he's now on the radio as Andy Burcham's color analyst. So his contributions to Auburn, obviously on the field, are very noticeable. And I think give him plenty of merit to be on the Mount Rushmore, period. But he has, in the last, decade, has given so much more to Auburn, even still off the field and as a member, of different organizations, that I think he has to be considered pretty strongly.
I wonder if a certain team that shouldn't have been in a championship game in 2004, actually both of them should not have been, one's by performance, one by legitimacy in terms of cheating. Jason Campbell with a national championship, I think, is probably a shoe-in for this. And he's pretty close right now. And yes, you laid out his accolades, even outside of physically playing quarterback for Auburn, what he's doing now, what he's done in the past for Auburn outside of actually being a player here. I think those help your case in getting on Auburn's quarterback Mount Rushmore. I'm not going to really fight you there. And I don't think that we're going to get a lot of pushback from that either. But there are some pretty good candidates that we should at least round out. And I know I actually thought about this one, but I'll reference one of our viewers right now. Randy Campbell should also be in a discussion about this. To me, I would probably put Randy Campbell and Nick Marshall in the same category, it's kind of like almost honorable mentions, meaning they have a case to be had there. And maybe somebody may be able to make a better case for them. I don't know. But you also got names like Damian Craig. You got names like Stan White, and kind of similar story of what he's meant to Auburn, even after being a quarterback, as a color commentator too. So I don't know. Let's put Jason there kind of in a spot and say he's probably going to be there. We'll leave it a little bit open. If you're going to push for a fourth one, though, who are you going to take?
I think it is hard. I think I'm going with Stan. The all-time passing record at Auburn still. And then you mentioned, he still has all the accolades off of the field of what he gave to Auburn, but also a longtime starter at Auburn University. Big wins in the late 90s. Some things when things were, there was some turmoil around the program back then. Stuck through it, still, racked up the yards. And that's a record that has lasted a long time now. We're coming on 30 years. So I'm thinking I'm gonna go with Stan White. Coming into tonight, I didn't know which way I was gonna lean, but I think I'm going with Stan White. We got a lot of push for Randy Campbell.
I'm telling you, I knew this was coming, and I'm happy about it, to be honest with you.
I am
too. What we
too.
want out of these discussions. I want people to like champion certain aspects of, which is why we're not releasing our definitive list just yet. We're just having a general discussion about it, just because I think there's cases to be made. Frankly, how some people probably feel about Randy Campbell, I honestly feel about Nick Marshall. I think he is you can't see it on screen right now, but my most prized signed book ball is for what he meant to us on the field in terms of those 2 years. Nobody ran the Gus Malzahn offense better than Nick Marshall. Bo may have been able to. Won't open that sore tonight because we opened up a lot of other ones. But there you go. Stan White, I think, is a great option there too, in terms of taking a 4th spot. I think Damian Craig and the success that he had, and seeing as part of the Pat Dyer, I think there's a lot of good options to fill those other 2 spots. I think Jason's probably going to fill that 3rd spot. That 4th spot is pretty much up for grabs. Anybody we're forgetting before we leave it up to everybody else?
I really can't think of him.
Patrick Nix.
I don't know if he's got the longevity, the amount of time that it would take. Obviously meant a lot to Auburn. I think of guys like who would probably put in that same camp. Ben Leard is someone I'd put in that camp who had, good moments. My childhood love, and there's some people who still like to hate on him, was Brandon Cox. And Brandon Cox was a baller.
You know what? I'm so happy you brought that up. I think he deserves to be in the conversation. He will not make it onto the Mount Rushmore.
He won't.
He is definitely in the honorable benching category.
Yeah,
to be honest.
And I recognize, and I think that's probably what we're going to get a lot of feedback on this, is that we are younger individuals who did not see Randy Campbell play and did not see, these other people we've mentioned that we can recall. But I think it's when you look at the quarterback history at Auburn, there's good moments. Is it the best to ever grace college football? No. In terms of talent and accolades, no. But there's more there than people think.
Yeah, there is. I think Gabe Gross also played. He's got a little bit. If we have a Auburn Mount Rushmore for multi-sport players, that might be.
We're doing that. We're doing that at some point.
There's a lot of them actually out there. People think Bo Jackson. They think Gabe Gross. There's some recent ones that I'm going to throw out to you. One, Noah Igbenogany for track and field and stuff like that. But anyway, Auburn quarterback Mount Rushmore. We have had our discussion. We will fight anyone tooth and nail that says that Cam and Pat are not on it. You will not be part of this discussion. That's not negotiable.
Right. Your vote is thrown out.
Jason probably legitimizes your stake in terms of making a Mount Rushmore, but that 4th spot, we basically all agree, I think, that it's up for grabs with a lot of people championing somebody. So it's up to you all. Let us know what you think. We'd love to hear your feedback on this. If you're watching this in a segment on social media, you can post in the comments, tag us, one of us individually or E2C Network this week when you're watching. And probably next episode, we'll reveal our official with our feedback and yours, the Mount Rushmore for Auburn quarterbacks coming up in the future. That's going to do it for this episode 64 of the Auburn Experience podcast. We appreciate you joining us. If you want to keep up with me, do so on all the different social media aspects, but of course, X/Twitter at Kyle Loomis24. Where can they find you, Mr. Scott, and blame you for what happened this week?
You can help me. Well, I don't even have anything to say. At Austin G. Scott. I was trying to come up with something, and I was like, no, I don't have anything. I'm just going to be honest.
It's been a week, hasn't it, buddy?
But you can better believe it. I was raising all kinds of problems when those lights were out. I was asking how poor this program is, how broke this building. I was at just letting them have it.
Listen, I said it on our social media accounts. I said, man, it's a tough scene in Alabama when even the lights are in the transfer portal. I mean, gosh.
That's a good one. Well, I mean, dadgum, I was just, how broke is this place? I mean,
poverty programs, right?
Y'all just need to ask Ryan Williams for an IOU since that's where all the money went. Anyway, Austin G. Scott, where you can find me. Give me some content. I'm happy to say any and all jokes. But yeah, I mean, Kyle, it was just disappointing. That's all I got to say about it.
I'm going to get him stirred up again. So before we do that, let's get out of there. Hit us up. Let us know about that Mount Rushmore topic. We appreciate you all hanging out with us this week on episode 64. Till we talk to you again. War Eagle.
War Eagle.
All right. Good show, folks. Thanks for hanging out with us. We had a little technical difficulties at the beginning, but we made it through there. And listen, it always provides good entertainment for me watching Austin struggle.
It's sure. So did I go black or did I just freeze?
You just went off the screen like you were gone. Like that spot you're in was vacant.
You usually, like, when it would happen to you, you would freeze. And that's how I would know, because I'd be like trying to see if you're blinking.
You froze one time during the show. Like actually during the, and then we were still conversing with me, so I just keep going with it. And normally, if you ever freeze, I try to just carry it out. This is like pulling back the curtains for everybody. I just try to carry it out until about a minute, and if it doesn't come back in a minute, I'm like, uh-oh.
Yeah, this isn't a very intricate operation, folks. You're seeing that we're just this thing's held together by some duct tape and toilet paper,
which you can help with by joining the Conquer Club. Links in the description. $1 a month's all it takes to get in the door, and you can be part of our Discord, all that good stuff. Anyway,
how about that?
That's all it takes. That's all it takes, my friends. Austin, thanks for hanging out with us, and
thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
The 49ers came back.
No, they did not.
They won.
Did they for real?
34-31.
Holy
heartbreak for Detroit.
No.
I feel bad for him.
Why would you do that to me?
I really wanted Detroit to win.
I did too. Now I got to pull for the 49ers.
Why are you pulling for the 49ers?
Because Taylor Swift.
Bro, we just talked about how Prince Take is on the Chiefs.
He's won them. It's fine. You know, I know. I got
what?
I don't listen. I am a person who likes parody, and I like not parody of sports. And so the Chiefs have won it enough. It's time. And I know that of late, I know the 49ers are one of the most storied programs when it comes to Super Bowls, but lately they have not won one. So I will be in 49ers camp, unfortunately. Sorry, Prince Take.
I'm with the Chiefs. I'm rocking with the Auburn people.
Hey, listen, you go right ahead, and Taylor Swift will write a song about me when she's mad that her man lost, and I'll much appreciate that.
Well, all right. Well, hope everyone has a great week. Just shake it off, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, don't wreck anything for us this week, okay?
I'll do my best.
Bye. All right, folks, thanks for hanging out with me for the remainder of the show. We got a few minutes left. I would love to talk about anything that you guys have on your minds. I know there was a lot of folks out this evening talking or watching. Apparently the 49ers come back. Oh, that's probably just cap on this week I needed. Listen, I'll just pull the curtain back a little bit for you. I've heard about me talking about a little bit. I was born and raised as a Packer fan. I have family in Wisconsin. Brian, if he's watching, knows this either on the replay or whatever. I like the Packers just because I have a affinity because of family ties to them, some family members would be very upset with me hearing me say that, being that I was rooting for the Lions. But to me, I don't know. I kind of like the story a little bit, but we'll see. I'm sure we'll mention some Super Bowl stuff in the coming weeks on the show. All right. Get comments and questions in. I see some of those coming in already. We'll address those in the show. Let me go and give you the rundown of what to expect the rest of the week. What we have on tap for you is the next scheduled live streams. Be on standby. Some of you are asking questions about things that I'm hoping will break this week. But for now, this Wednesday, Auburn Family Night, our live stream call-in show, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Please join us. We'd love to have you call into the show. Some of you people that have been here for a while, y'all need to call into that show. I want to hear some voices, see some smiling faces. 8 p.m. Wednesday night call-in show. Right after that, after the basketball game will be played. Excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. And then we will do a post-game Vanderbilt stream where hopefully we will have some much better vibes. That Saturday Ole Miss rematch, we will do that as well. Hopefully have some much better vibes with that, and hopefully sweeping Ole Miss. It's going to be tough, though, playing them in Oxford. Stay tuned throughout the week for much more content here, everywhere. If you're not following us on social media, those links in the description here on YouTube are your best bet. If you're watching somewhere else, I always say YouTube is home base. You will find links to everything, every social media, every way to support us if you haven't done so already. Yeah. By the way, I'm going to, and I'll take some of your comments and questions, but because I know some of you are watching WT, I don't know if you know this, but you have access to our Discord as part of being a supporter here on YouTube. Everybody who is a Conquer Club member via joining, you hit the join button there on YouTube. There should be a link there available for you somewhere on that page to access our Discord. It's just basically like a social media app where we just talk amongst all the Conquer Club members. So we'd love to see you over there. Love seeing you here, but hopefully you'll take advantage of that. You support us every month, not just him, but plenty of others. Take advantage of that if you are a supporter. If you want to be, just hit that join button. $1 a month is all it takes to keep the lights on. All right. Final thoughts here. The Lions loss was all on Campbell, him and his analytics. I will have to go find out what happened. That is sad, 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 sad. I will have to look into Discord. I have never been there. It's not the hardest thing to get into. Really, if you want to access it, it is. Well, actually, I've never seen y'all's side of joining on there. Obviously, the creator side I see, but not y'all's side. Supposedly, you should be able to access a link wherever you joined at on your memberships for our stuff, and that will basically get you in and will allow you in and all that kind of stuff to be part of it. It's just, you don't have to join if you don't want to, but you support us. We want to make you feel, other than being recognized by having the icons next to you and stuff like that, that you've earned something, which you have. Any word on the DC? I have not heard anything that y'all haven't heard on social media. The story goes is that Hugh's been very busy and finally got to meet with Chris Kiffin after he was opened up after the Texans lost last week. And then a lot of hubbub about DJ Durkin. You know, some people are going to get on their high horses about that if that does end up happening. It seems like it's Chris Kiffin's job to win, but I am very much in the favor of just giving it to Charles Kelly and just calling it a day. That's me. You don't have to believe that, but hey, it is what it is. Chris says, after chatting with you after yesterday's game and seeing the record of top 10 teams on the road, I'm a little less irritated by the losses this week. Still got to stop forcing threes. Nothing wrong with mid-range jumpers. See, I've seen the opposite criticism that some people were tired with the long-range two-pointers. And I'm like, pick your poison. I mean, nobody can make everybody's so focused on being frustrated that they can't take a step back and even figure out if they even know what they're talking about. I'm not talking about you, Chris. I'm just the general Auburn collective. This is why I stress, folks, if you are reacting poorly on social media, you're probably going to end up with egg on your face. And I say that only in the sense that most people won't, because they hide behind anonymous accounts. You've got your full name there, so credit to you. And say this type of word I'm not going to use. And it's just a bad representation of Auburn. And we're better than that. And so I just say, folks, look, we're not in a panic mode right now. Like Austin and I talked about a little bit earlier. It is just the middle of the season and plenty of SEC schedule. Let's go. And it's hard to win on the road in basketball, period, in college basketball, in SEC basketball. It doesn't make sense sometimes, and sometimes it's just frustrating. Let's see. Goal is not to lose in February and March. Well, really, March and April, right? But yes, February in the sense that you want to really position yourself much better for SEC tournament, NCAA tournament. Taking these losses now is what you want if they're going to happen. Figure out what doesn't work now. So I think finally cooler heads are starting to prevail once, some people who like to be inflammatory got their clicks and their likes and all that stuff. And I'm not talking about media people. I'm talking about just general fans. Once that was done, the dust has at least settled somewhat. The fact that Bruce today had to put out a tweet, didn't have to, but chose to put out a tweet addressing the fan sentiment, it kind of says a lot. And if you're a part of that mess, and haven't reconciled with that and haven't, kind of said, yeah, I probably should have cooled down a little bit, you're part of the problem. You are. I said it again, and I'll keep saying it. At Ole Miss is one we need to win. I don't know about need. Still plenty of opportunities on the table after that. But in terms of switching the narrative that Auburn can't win on the road, yes. That will go a long way to cooling things off. So it is what's a nice way of saying it? Need is too strong for me right now. I understand what you're saying. And that's what you said, need. I see the air quotes. I need a better word than need. Something that, anyway, y'all think about it. Even coach said that he wished they would stop taking so many threes, but I'm picking up what you're putting down. Yeah, I think we've all noticed that, especially a few individuals are throwing up some threes a little too often. And when it's not going down, this is not a team that can shoot its way out of a slump, I think. I could be wrong. That may be premature to say that as well. Again, I just don't like saying a lot of definitive statements. I said one last week that this team should be considered a surefire Elite Eight. Based on how they play this week, I was wrong. Now, in a few weeks, I may be right on again, because the way they played this week, they did not play like an Elite Eight team. Of course, neither did a lot of the other top 10, but I digress. Switching the narrative. There you go. I like that phrase because, yeah, it's a good philosophy sometimes. Anyway. All right. We are well over an hour on the stream. I appreciate you guys being here, hanging out with us. Again, we do this every single Sunday night at 9 Eastern time, barring unforeseen circumstances. Would love for you to be here. Invite a friend. That's the easiest way that you can help us grow our little family within the Auburn family. Let them know to join us here on Sunday nights, Wednesday nights at 8. Those are your mainstays. So be there or be square. We appreciate you guys being here, hanging out with us and being part of our little family in the Auburn family. Smash that like button. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. I hope to see you this week or this Wednesday or whenever else we get here and do breaking news and stuff like that. But regardless of that, until we talk to you again, War Eagle.